Ooh, what a wild ass day. I can't even keep up anymore. It's hard to keep up. If you look at the reckless Ben situation has hit unfathomable levels of insanity right now. And I think everybody expected Carmelo Anthony to be found guilty. There was like this very, very small part of me that was like, you never know. Because wilder things have happened. But it seemed pretty open and closed with the people surrounding this whole aftermath that's going on right now are all trying to say that it's the biggest injustice of all time. And I'm not trying to be a dick, but it was so open and shut for me. I mean, if you're actually following this, the defense, like the closing argument of Carmelo Anthony's like defense team was Austin Metcalf actually stabbed himself. Like he tripped and fell on dude's knife, right? That's where we're at right now. He tripped and fell on dude's knife, and sentencing is going to be announced probably really soon. And the defense for him not getting an extreme amount of time, like a really, really crazy extreme amount of time, the defense is, oh, well, he had 2 jobs and he made good grades. Therefore, he can't go to prison for a long time, which makes literally no sense at all. As far as the death sentence goes, I'm pretty sure that from what I read, now I could be speaking out my cheeks here, but from what I read, he was too young at the time of the murder to qualify for the death sentence. Now, I don't know if I just read that on Twitter. Okay. So I don't know if that actually means anything. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't expect him to get the death penalty at all. There's going to be a lot of animosity, and they're going to try to make this. People are going to try to make this something insane, right? So they're going to try to make this a new like cultural movement. That's going to be the whole point around this. It's going to be a new cultural movement, and there's going to be violence around it. That's what's being encouraged right now. A guy was just interviewed, and I'll pull this up here in a second. A guy was just interviewed saying that black people should be extremely angry, which means he's implying that people should start breaking shit. And I'm like, this isn't. I mean, even with Trayvon Martin, like there was a lot of mystery to the case because no one was there to see anything. Whereas there was tons of people that testified that were witnesses to this and saw this happen. Charles says, I blame his parents for failing to raise him to be a balanced and productive person. We need to learn to share love. Charles, thank you, buddy. Yeah, here's the issue. If you guys don't remember, Carmelo Anthony's family had a $700,000 GoFundMe, obviously aimed at like defense, right? And apparently they spent the vast majority of this on like luxury items and cars and shit. And I'm like, it's probably where you went wrong, right? That's probably where you went wrong because you ended up with a defense team that's going to argue that Carmelo Anthony actually was just sitting there and Austin Metcalf fell on his knife. Just fell on it. Thank you, Charles. I appreciate your super chat. Anyways, let's pull this up because this is pretty interesting stuff here. So you guys can actually see what the hell's going on here.
Austin Metcalf isn't coming back. And so she said, yes, I do, and reaffirmed that. The prosecution rested after, or passed the witness. She was excused. And then the prosecution said, we rest, and the defense rested. And the judge said he was going to go back and work on the charge to the jury. And once he comes back, which should be around now or soon, once they read that charge, then I'm understanding there's going to be closing arguments on both sides, but I really don't know at this point. There really has been nothing done to try to mitigate Carmelo Anthony's, punishment in this case. He's facing 5 to 99 years in prison. He has no criminal criminal record. I haven't heard anything about a sudden passion defense that can be raised after a murder conviction that can help minimize the amount of time that a person stays incarcerated. I don't know if at this point if that's going to be part of the sentencing. We'll find out here in a minute from the judge.
Yeah, see, a moment of passion kind of thing. Yeah, like you could argue that in every murder ever. I don't see how that can be a thing.
Short matter of minutes or hours, and the jury will deliberate as long as
one of the witnesses stated that Karmelo was asked to leave a tent like 5 times and refused to leave, and then once was pushed, stabbed Austin Metcalf. That doesn't seem passionate to me. It seems like murder. And he's facing 5 to 99 years. He definitely will not get 99 years. Sorry. 15 times. 15 times! Or God, Jesus, brother. And let me put this out there. Like 5 to 99 years, he's not getting 99 years. I would say he's probably going to get like 15. I would imagine he'll get 15 years. Because what goes into this is people are going to, the people in power are going to understand that there's going to be a lot of heightened emotions around this, and somebody's going to have to get thrown a bone, right? And throwing a bone. So basically both people win in a way, right? So basically, here's what's going on. They came back with a guilty verdict. That's Austin Metcalf's family getting closure and a win. And then they're going to give him a small amount of time in prison. So there's not riots. Although I don't think there is any chance that riots will be avoided. Now, unfortunately, I have to say this. You and I know best that a lot of these riots were bought and paid for. And those funds are gone, right? The bought and paid for rioting is not really a thing now, so we might not actually see that. What's up, Ty? How you doing, brother? We're doing good, buddy. I hope you're doing well, buddy. Thank you, buddy. Boosh says the 4 black students said he was asked to leave many times. Austin repeatedly said he didn't want to fight. Yeah, that's probably what doomed his ass, right? That's what doomed him. And there was a guy on the stream a minute ago. Here, I'll play it real quick. That was really, really angry and claiming that justice was not done because there was no black people on the jury, which implies that like everyone is evil and racist. And I don't see that as being the case. I think that's just the perspective of the guy. Because if the guy is an activist leader, then that's going to be the way he thinks. Billy says, why such an early stream? Because this just happened. He could get as little as 5 years. Yes. Thank you, Billy. As little as 5 years, yeah. Here he goes. Here's this guy.
It showed us that time and time in American history, it has shown us to remove emotions from yet the law. This trial showed that it put emotions over the law.
I want you to pay attention to this, okay? This guy is saying they're putting emotions over the law, and then he literally loses his shit in an emotional 5-minute rant. And I don't know if the self-awareness or the irony is as clear to everybody else as it is to me, but how can you be like, they acted only on emotion and then start literally losing your shit? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of...
After Trayvon Martin and so many countless names, it has shown us that black life is not safe in Collin County. It showed us that they did not listen to the law. It showed clearly that a judge interfered in this process. It showed very clearly that a black boy was allowed, not one black soul on a jury. An all white jury convicted him in 2 to 3 hours. We know that they did not prove their case. They are currently sentencing Karmelo Anthony But we know that the Next Generation Action Network put the first $10,000 towards an appellate attorney. And we will fight Collin County like hell. I respected this process. I allowed and called for peace in this process.
See what they got us.
But Black America should be very upset about what went on today. Now, before all of the internet lawyers and before all of the interpretation of the situation, I'm only an advocacy leader. I'm not an attorney. I can only help families be able to navigate these processes when they find themselves in this type of situation. I can only allow lawyers to be what they are, lawyers. I can't instruct them. I can't stop them from doing anything. I have to respect the process just like anybody else. But what we saw today was flawed, unjust, and I ask that the community continue to pray for the Anthony family. I do not speak for them, but I know that the Next Generation Action Network will be here as support. My heart hurts right now because an ignorance of the law was done here today. Clear. We posted the jury instructions, and right now what we are seeing is a travesty. It lets us know that Black lives do not matter in the criminal justice system.
Andrea, this is Ken and Karen once again. We're hearing Dominique Alexander. He's speaking right now to all kind of debate, all kind of.
I heard that a minute ago. And I thought the irony was palpable. How it's like they put emotions over the court system, and then that dude has an emotional outburst for a couple minutes. I'm like, that's kind of ironic. You know what I'm saying? It's a little ironic. He then said, he's like, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just an activist leader. But also an injustice was done here. I'm like, well, you just said you weren't a lawyer, but you also said there was an injustice of the law done here. I don't know, man. I don't know. And anybody like researching this case, knows immediately that it was very open and shut.
You know, the Austin family and, you know, for the Karmelo family, man, I don't want to be in this situation, you know.
And we also have some sound from a Metcalf supporter that
Thank you,
hopefully we can go ahead and cue up for you.
Brother.
I don't want to see the young man go away for his whole life. I think he's young enough that he can hopefully grow, learn something, come out and be a productive part of society. I don't even think he went there to do what happened, but that's what happened. And we don't need to be setting a precedent where if you come up and shove me, I can just pull a knife and stab you in the heart. Proportional force, right? If I come up and shove you, you shove me back, we get in a fight, but not pull a knife and stab somebody in the heart. For Christ's sake, man.
All right, and we understand that Frisco ISD, the communications department, has issued a statement saying our community has carried the weight of this tragedy for more than a year, and our thoughts remain with the impacted families.
I like how he's like, I don't think he should go to jail forever. He could learn something. And I'm like, what is there to learn? Okay. What is there to learn? There's only one thing to learn here, and that's don't stab people. And I got to be honest, I knew that was the correct course of action when I was a child. When I was 9 years old, I knew stabbing people was not the correct thing to do, so I didn't stab people. I didn't need to go to prison for a couple of years to learn that stabbing people was not the correct course of action. Right? So what is there to learn? Team Up Squid says, "Why did idiot Karmelo deserve to go away forever? We can't allow that behavior. Actually, start consequences." Yeah, it's hard to say. I don't foresee the dude going away. Nikki's good. What did we learn? Not stab. Not stab, Shani. I got to be honest. I wouldn't. I don't expect him to go to prison very long. What's up, X-Moon? How you doing? Yeah, good. Yeah, exactly. Good boy. Says don't be low IQ. That easy. I'm very low IQ, and I don't stab people. All right.
Testimony about him being there when his brother died. We have heard
Kyle Rittenhouse should have gotten live. No, absolutely not.
Very emotional reaction. And from the people.
You know what's really weird about this whole situation?
After this occurred,
Make tacos. The fact that people are like, "Wow, Kyle Rittenhouse got off and Karmelo Anthony got convicted." And I'm like, these are completely different situations, right? Like not even remotely in the same universe. But people just say one dude white, one dude black, therefore same thing if they don't have the same outcome, right? Very silly.
We're getting word that
this is the first time that we're seeing him.
Shit, meaning plum.
I
don't know about that.
Which means that the verdict, as soon as they sit down, we're going to hear what this verdict is. So we're literally within a minute or so of finding out what the verdict is. So if we hear that, if you hear it first, you interrupt me. If I hear it first, I'll interrupt you. but
earlier
we have to get that on as soon as we know.
At this point,
what's up, game on metal?
Right, everyone's going to stand up. Is standing up, I'm sure, as the jury walks in. They're going to be seated. The judge is going to say something along the lines of, "How do you find on count one, murder in the first degree?" And then you're not going to hear. J.D. Miles, who's sitting in the courtroom, is going to hear what that verdict is. They're likely going to ask about the count of murder. They're likely going to ask about manslaughter. Of course, if it's guilty on verdict, it would be not guilty. Manslaughter wouldn't come into play. If it's not guilty on murder, then it would come down to manslaughter. If it's not guilty on both, again, that's an acquittal.
Yes.
That's the end of the story.
Yeah, we're going to hear that here in a second. We also know that the judge had given orders that if this verdict were to come in before 4 o'clock, this would move immediately into the sentencing phase. How do you anticipate that will play out? Once we know the verdict, I guess, will there be another break, another recess, and then come back for that? Or does that usually happen immediately? And again, just leaning into your experience.
Yeah, I would say generally there's a break. This judge happens to be one that keeps things moving quite quickly, so I'm afraid to really even try to predict what he's going to do. But we were warned that we would essentially go right into sentencing. It will be the same jury that determines guilt or innocence that would determine the sentence. That is something.
He says, "What do you feel like?" The complete opposite.
He had the option of having the judge determine a sentence or the jury. He opted for the jury.
All really silly. It's all extremely race-based. It's all extremely race-based.
Again, if this is a conviction, if Karmelo Anthony is found guilty, the defense would be able to present evidence of sort of mitigating circumstances, why the jury should give him 5 years as opposed to 99 years. And so we could hear some testimony or not. In some cases, the sentencing phase really is just another round of arguments, another round of closing arguments from both sides.
We have seen that too.
It could go either way. Those are the options. Yeah.
Well, we're going to be keeping a close eye on that. As you mentioned, we've got J.D. Miles inside. Andrea, you can't see this, but we're on a split screen right now. We have live aerial video coming in from outside the courthouse, where it seems that security looks to be beefing up. It looks like we've got more law enforcement boots on the ground, sort of standing shoulder by shoulder. Some more police cruisers. From what you can see, do you also get that same sense from what we're seeing from the aerial video coming in? Do you sort of see an increased law enforcement presence there too?
Yes.
We got a verdict.
Yeah, you're seeing law enforcement. Again, we've had.
Let's stand by here for a second. Getting word that we may have a verdict. So if you see it come through, Andrea. For folks who are joining us on the CBS News Texas stream and over the air, we are coming to you with breaking news with the Karmelo Anthony trial. We understand that a verdict has already been announced. We're just getting word to see what exactly that verdict is. So please bear with us. We've got Andrea Lucia outside the courtroom, J.D. Miles inside, and we're watching everything from back here in the studios as well. At any moment now, we're expecting to hear what the verdict is. Okay, what is it? Andrea, go for it.
Guilty on murder.
Guilty on murder. Okay.
Guilty on murder.
I don't anticipate that they're going to change their tone in their stance into, how they feel.
That was when they announced it a few minutes ago. Mount Deron says, "Gotta let these guys go out early on good behavior." So people try to come on. Yeah. Exactly, brother. It's like people will get 100 years in prison for tax evasion or something to that nature, but somebody like that has raped somebody or murdered somebody will get 5 to 15 years. It's really strange. Pliskin says, "What's the over under on how much time he gets?" I say 10 years. That sounds like a really, really great number. And I'm saying a realistic number. Like I said earlier, there's going to be a big push and pull for this whole situation. Like I said, Austin Metcalf's family gets closure because he's guilty, but also they're going to be looking at the possible public outcry.
And the defense is calling its first witness.
Okay.
And they're going to they're going to try to negate that public perception or the public outcry as much as possible.
Yeah, Kayla Hayes' mother is going to be the first one up there for the defense. And let's go back out to our Andrea Lucia now. And we've heard some of the people there who were in the crowd getting very upset, and some people were very, very happy. We're seeing a lot of
try to get a plea deal after the defense rest.
I don't think anyone thought however this would have
well,
turned out.
somebody asked if he can get the death penalty. I don't believe so because he was a minor at the time of the murder.
After a verdict was read, I think both sides proved that they had very spirited and very fiery opinions, one way or another about this case. And I think all of the elements were there to have this kind of a reaction. We just didn't know what side it was going to come from. But that's something that law enforcement there on the scene has also been monitoring as well. Explains some of the details that Andrea was giving us from the beefed up security, the law enforcement, the barricading that's going on, and quite frankly, even the limited access that they gave us, members of the media. They didn't allow any cameras inside. They allow some members of the media. It's limited, but all they can do is report back, meaning they got to get on a phone.
About some of these orders and what we can and cannot do, and the people that were not following them that then were becoming somewhat belligerent with the sheriff's deputies were banned from this property, and that would not be uncommon.
Right. Yeah, they're going to want to have control, because if you let one little thing get out of control, you see the number of people, it can escalate pretty quickly. And like you said, Tanya, they have de-escalated. They have been so professional. They listen to people. They give instructions, and if you violate that instruction, you're not going to be permitted to be in there anymore. And it's just that simple. But they clearly show that they're in control, but very respectful about it. As an attorney, someone that comes up here, it's just.
Enigma says 50 years possible parole, 25. It depends on how fast they deliberate. I don't see 50 years being possible, though. Millie says they're mad because someone's finally getting arrested and probably goes. Well, it happens all the time. It's just it was a high profile case. There's like one or two of these per year, right? There's like a high profile case that's completely based only in race. Only in race.
Anything. I've been at death penalty cases. I've watched cases in different counties, been a part of cases in different counties, and I've never. To me, it kind of reminds me of like the O.J. Simpson trial. If you remember the tents and the media and the cameras and all that stuff, that's what it kind of feels like to me out here. It's just a lot of networks and a lot of.
Shani says, "Was it first degree murder?" Yes, it was.
Everybody has their space. For the
he was convicted of first degree murder like an hour ago,
and everything's gone pretty well.
We had people every day getting here anywhere from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the morning, but as early as 1 lining up to get one of the 27 seats. I do feel that some of this could have been avoided had the judge allowed cameras in the courtroom. Most judges in Texas in a high profile case.
Radiosphere says the only reasonable decision has been made. Now, what is the sentence? I believe personally the sentence will be light.
See the evidence, decide for themselves what they are
to try
seeing
to
and
completely
hearing versus an interpretation from other
pacify
people.
what
So,
could be like
I do think that some of this, where people
Which,
are
to be
fighting
fair,
for
this
seats
is
and
the
having to
situation
enter in
for
the wee hours of the morning and having to pay
You
overtime for the sheriff
Trayvon Martin, all these other things,
and a lot of
like
to man this crowd.
there was a lot of mystery to the entire case and situation. There was no witnesses, right? Whereas this is completely different. This is really open and shut, right?
What was happening out here?
What is the old phrase? Don't never let a good riot go to waste.
You guys know
Yeah, Jeff on the roads.
Top. That is at the judge's discretion. So the judge controls his or her courtroom, and they are able to make that decision. Rebecca, Tanya, I'm wondering because I imagine when the jury receives these charging instructions, goes into the room to deliberate an appropriate punishment for Karmelo Anthony, they'll be reflecting on a lot of the evidence that we've heard during trial, some of the same evidence that led them to conviction. they'll now be considering when it comes to punishment, perhaps not in the same way, but perhaps looking at it from a different angle. But they will be going back to a lot of the evidence that they heard. What are some things you think will stand out in their minds? Things that stood out to you during the course of this trial?
I'm also going to ask the question of our attorney. So Chris is asking about the things that the jury heard during trial and some of the key evidence that also then they can deliberate in punishment.
Has Obama tweeted about it yet? That was literally the worst thing that anybody could have ever done. The sitting president saying that he could have been his son. I'm like, well, here come the riots. You know what I'm saying?
Courtroom. So some key pieces of evidence that you think that they will look at when it comes to getting a better idea how this jury is going to reach a verdict and what they're going to assess in punishment.
I mean, I think that they're going to look at the age of Mr. Anthony. He was 17 at the time that this happened. I think most people would think that, hey, a 17-year-old might not make the best decisions in life, and that they also don't want to necessarily throw a life away. That could be something that's taken into consideration. They're also going to look at another 17, 18-year-old that was killed. And those are just things that they'll consider. They'll look at everything that they heard about what happened in that tent. Does it rise to the level of sudden passion? Is this something that they feel that Karmelo showed up at the track meet intending that he knew he was going to go that day and actually cause harm to someone? So there's so many different things that they're going to take into consideration. The fact that they didn't hear a bunch of extraneous offenses about him being arrested and having a juvenile record or anything stuff like that they don't hear. So those are all things that I think are going to be factors. And at the end of the day, they're going to look at, you have, unfortunately, a deceased young man. And that's kind of, at the end of the day, you have to take that. A jury's going to have
that's
to
the logic. They found him guilty, yes.
Some sort of punishment.
He was found guilty on first-degree murder.
What about the statements that Karmelo Anthony made shortly after he is detained and arrested? He is, and you hear on the body camera footage where he is crying and he is saying, I told him not to put his hands on me. Is this self-defense? He, at one moment, told one of the coaches that he thought that Austin Metcalf was going to live, that he was going to be okay, and even asked, is he okay? The jury, do you think that is obviously something they're also going to consider?
For sure. I mean, because the deal is, at the end of the day, it wasn't something that he planned to do. Went out and said that morning, going to the track meet, I'm going to kill someone. His emotion afterwards, the fact that he's crying, he's emotional. I think he told him that he didn't want it to happen like that. He wasn't intending to kill him. He was going to be okay. So those are all factors that a jury's going to take into consideration on, what they.
He didn't mean to kill him. It's totally fine.
All of those things. So a lot of times,
I don't know, man.
They might resubmit their case in chief, and
he was crying.
Take my case in chief, which you heard of guilt, innocence,
look,
into
as a crying child, throw the Constitution
anything else that you hear in punishments, and the jury's going to be able to do that.
He was crying because he knew he was going to go to prison. I would like
to Rebecca, I just want to let you know that the public is being invited back into the courtroom, so we expect to hear those formal charging instructions fairly soon. I also want to get your opinion on this. The judge now says Karmelo Anthony has waived his right to testify during the punishment phase, and I'm wondering if I can get your reaction to that.
So Karmelo Anthony has waived his right to testify in the punishment phase, and also the public is being allowed back in time now to obviously hear the charges. So what do you make of the fact that he is not going to testify on his behalf here?
I mean, I understand it. At the end of the day, you have a now 18, 19-year-old man subject to cross-examination. At the end of the day, as a defense attorney, if you call that client to the stand, you better hope he's really remorseful, right? Because if mom says that he's
if he gets him to the stand, if he testified and he was just
crying,
not taking it serious, it'd be over. Have a Cuba says, boy, my boy Melo didn't do nothing. How you do, brother? Anything he's going to say will make it worse. Yeah, there is no reason for that. Absolutely no reason for that. It would only make it 10 times worse.
defense understands, jury's already found him guilty. Mom testified that he was remorseful. Mom's clearly emotional. Both families are emotional, and they're going to leave the jury with that to determine.
Do you also run the risk of things coming in that you don't want to come in? Right?
Absolutely. There could be things, and I don't know what that could be, but if he testifies, if there's any bad act, if he kicked a dog whenever he was 10 years old and the state knew about it, they could put it in punishment because all relevant bad acts come in. So, it might not be a criminal act. It might not be something that they got charged with, but if there's other things out there, social media stuff, some other student that says something that happened bad or whatever, it all becomes relevant and all gets put on, and they're subject to cross-examination on it.
And Tanya, you and I have seen where we have seen people and witnesses take the stand that they did not look remorseful. And then there are others that, got up down the stand and cried. I can think of some of the police involved shooting type cases, murder cases that we covered where, it can impact how the jury sentences you.
I think so. I mean, I think back to Amber Geiger. Amber Geiger was quite emotional, and in the sense that we got.
I think the fact that he's not testifying is probably because his sentence is going to be very light, right? And literally, the only thing that it could only make it worse, right? That's why I think he's not testifying. I think they already know. I think everyone already knows. I think it's going to be really, really light.
That played a role in the jurors giving him 20
Again,
years. So
they have to mitigate this public outcry, this public explosion that's going to come and happen. That's what they have to mitigate.
Anything they do and say is going to come.
Yeah, Laura Berger. Yeah. That probably didn't help.
It is. I mean, do you think that your client makes your case any better than what it is now? And right now,
hey, Shadow, what's up, brother? He just gifted 10 subs, brother. On Kick. Shadow, what's up, buddy? You monster. You monster frisbee. Doobie-doobie-doo. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Hot diggity damn.
Got client up there, and you don't know how they're going to come off under cross-examination. You don't know what they're going to look like, what they're going to say. It just could cause more damage than where you're at right now from the defense standpoint.
Chris, we're going to toss it back to you if you have any questions for us.
Yes. Just on the other side as well, we've talked a lot about Karmelo Anthony not taking stand, not testifying in his own defense, even though defense attorneys had raised this defense of self-defense in this case. I wonder if you could give me some perspective on the other side as well, because we know Austin Metcalf's twin brother was right there. He literally was just feet away from him. Watch this happen.
Yeah, wall guy, the fourth wall guy. Yeah, he was found guilty
for first-degree murder. Not to bring him to the stand.
Lady Bama says 15 plus witnesses say the same thing, and people are still protesting. Well, it seems to me, from watching this and leading up to this, it seems to me that it doesn't really matter what happened. It's just people are trying to frame it and react to it as if it's a civil rights case, like a turning point in like civil rights. But it's just not. Again, Trayvon Martin, it was basically his word, which didn't exist, against George Zimmerman's word. It was a very, very rough trial, right? And either way it goes, people are going to be pissed because it's like, believe me, you're believing that guy. This is the complete difference. This is completely different. There's countless witnesses saying the same thing. Karmelo Anthony stabbed this dude. That's the end of the story. You know what I'm saying? It's so much. It was so damning. It was so damning that the defense for Karmelo Anthony tried to unironically say that Austin Metcalf fell on Karmelo Anthony's wife. I was thinking about an analogy at the same time. So basically, it's like it goes like this. It's like when you yell at your girl because she's saying she didn't mean to cheat on you, and you're like, "What, did you trip and fall on his penis?" That's the defense they unironically used. They unironically claimed that Austin Metcalf fell on dude's knife. When that is your defense, you're done.
So they're going to
talk
specifically to Mr. Anthony, tell him how this has affected them, and say their piece to him.
I think he'll get.
And so you could see Hunter do that at that point in time, or other family members have that opportunity.
Chris, we're going to toss it back to you.
Okay, and I just want to follow up on that just a little bit. So this is the point in the punishment phase where we're saying Austin Metcalf's family can address Karmelo Anthony directly, correct?
Right. Yeah, that's absolutely right. They will once the jury has rendered their verdict.
No name. Feel free to correct me in the chat.
Take the stand effectively, and they will get to say whatever it is they want to say. And I mean, Rebecca, you know this, and Keith, you know this. A lot of times, I mean, those are really. Oftentimes, those victim impact statements are the most gut-wrenching parts of a trial because you really feel the pain.
You fall in and out all the time. Well, it is true. EF says right across the UK due to a public decapitation attempt. Yeah, y'all, good luck over there. Good luck in the UK. UK is gone. It fell a long time ago, brother. And they still wear wigs in court. It's over, brother. It's over. Thank you, EF. Appreciate you, brother.
Because obviously you're hearing very emotionally driven, emotionally charged statements from people. And so that's why it's done after everything's been finalized and done.
It could be prejudicial.
It could definitely be prejudicial, for sure.
Yeah, Chris, we have seen some of the most impactful and emotional testimony during those victim impact statements. I mean, it's gut-wrenching. And sometimes the family wants to get that off their chest. They've not had a chance to ever directly say anything to Karmelo Anthony. And remember, there was a gag order in this case. No one can talk until after the entire punishment and guilt innocence phase and all of the phases of this trial are over. So they've not been able to say anything or talk to the media or talk to anyone about what this has done. Now, they did do interviews with us right after and immediately after, but they've not.
DS, yeah, they're doing the sentencing right now. They're deliberating the sentencing.
This is their chance to speak directly to Karmelo Anthony. Chris.
I just want to give you guys some insight on what's happening in the courtroom right now. Jobin Puttaker just let us know that both families, Austin Metcalf's family and Karmelo Anthony's family, have both returned to the courtroom. He says that Austin Metcalf's family is slightly more talkative now at this phase of the proceeding, whereas Karmelo Anthony's family is still extremely quiet. The public has also been allowed back into the courtroom as well. And Jobin says he has seen a lot more young faces there in the crowd. We assume these could be classmates, friends, fellow students for either who either went to school or are friends or knew Karmelo Anthony or Austin Metcalf. I just want to get back out to our team out there on the scene there for one last question. In terms of this punishment phase, just again, go over with our viewers exactly what the jury, is able to consider at this point.
They're going to consider him crying after getting arrested, and they're going to consider his age and his past offenses, which don't exist, right? Like he had no criminal record. That's what they're going to look after. So, to give everybody a summary, because I know not everybody's up on it, it's, not even me, as much as I should be. This is the evidence against Anthony and why he was convicted. There's multiple eyewitnesses, more than 20 prosecution witnesses, mostly teammates. Students described Anthony being asked to leave the tent, some said up to 15 times, keeping his hand in his backpack, issuing the verbal threat, and then stabbing Metcalf immediately after being pushed. Witness characterized it as lethal force against non-lethal force and said Anthony was the aggressor. One teammate broke down on the stand, describing seeing blood and a hole in Metcalf's chest while Metcalf screamed for help. Perry explicitly said it was not self-defense nor about race. And this is the thing. A lot of people are gonna internet brain this. They're gonna straight up internet brain this and be like, oh, you're allowed to defend yourself if anybody brushes up against you. I'm like, you're at a track meet, dude. You're at a high school track meet deal, and you're issuing a verbal threat and then stabbing somebody. because somebody pushed you or brushed up against you. You know, there things that are like considered here is it was force required equal to the force received, right? And if somebody like pushes you, it's not time for stabbings, especially at a high school track meet, especially after issuing a verbal threat, right? But a lot of people are going to look at cases like Kyle Rittenhouse, right? Because people, to be completely honest with you, most people, they're either emotional or not very smart, right? Kyle Rittenhouse was running from people that had guns and were attacking him, and he shot them as the guy had a gun raised on him, okay? That is a very different situation from, let's say, for example, let's say somebody comes up to your front porch of your house with you and a bunch of your friends, a random person, and they start refusing to leave, and you're like, hey man, get the hell out of here, we don't know who you are, and they keep refusing to leave and refusing to leave and refusing to leave, and they're being aggressive, and they say, if you try to make me leave, I'll kill your ass. And you're like, bro, I don't know who you are. And then one of your friends comes up and like puts his hand on the guy's shoulder, and then the guy pulls out a gun and kills like two of you. He's not getting fucking self-defense, brother. He came up to you and killed your ass. It's literally the bully defense, guys.
What's happening in the courtroom right now? The jury is back in the courtroom.
It's literally the bully defense. It's like, hit me. You ever had a bully in school tell you to hit him over and over so they can beat the shit out of you because you started it? That's literally what this is.
Liberating an appropriate punishment after finding Karmelo Anthony guilty of murder. Again, we have been on the air now for about 2 hours here. Ever since we got word that they had reached a verdict, they were considering manslaughter and murder, and they found him guilty of murder. Now they have immediately moved into the punishment phase, which is deciding exactly how long he will go to prison for. He has to go to prison, but they are determining for how long he will spend in prison. Again, want to thank you for joining us here on WF.
I have to say, I think it's going to be a light sentence just because they're going to want to reduce public outcry. If they sentence him to life in prison, there's going to be riots for 6 months. And you know those riots after 1 week are going to just turn into people trying to break shit for fun, because that's what they devolve into, right? They always devolve into just breaking shit for fun, right? All right, let's move to another sentencing feed. Unless this one keeps going. It looks like it's going to keep going.
Good afternoon.
Oh, okay, it is, yeah.
WFAA News at
Megan with a pink boy. Oh, my God. Thank you. I appreciate you. Megan Cereal. I'm probably saying that wrong. I apologize. Thank you so much, baby. I love you and I appreciate you. Coming in strong with a pink boy. We're an orange and a red from Rainbow Night on this random early stream. Thank you, Megan. I appreciate that. Sharing some love. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Just before 2 o'clock this afternoon and delivered that verdict in court a little bit after that. Right now, the case is in the sentencing phase. That part began immediately after the jury delivered its verdict this afternoon. You're looking at a live picture from our chopper at this hour, which is there at the courthouse in McKinney where this trial has taken place. We have seen some folks gathering there from both sides of this, crowds of onlookers gathering every day of this trial, people lining up early in the morning, trying to get one of the coveted seats inside the courtroom. Here's a ground shot of part of the crowd that we're still seeing this afternoon. This trial has gone on for a week now. Some of the folks...
This dude's about to kick some ass. Look at him.
From out of town. Some are high schoolers. All of them, though, proof of the far-reaching interest in this case and the emotional impact that this case has had. In April of 2025, Karmelo Anthony, who was then a student at Frisco Centennial High School, was arrested and charged for the stabbing death of Austin Metcalf.
All right, let's cover the rest of the evidence before we move on. Billy with an orange voices for the Rainbow Night. If we hit it, we'll almost be halfway to the next bullshit. I don't plan on hitting Nugget Snake. I went live literally with the 1 second notice. Thank you, Billy. I appreciate you, brother. Shout out to Billy. Shout out.
He was causing the death of
So,
Austin Metcalf
We covered the multiple eyewitness testimonies from more than 20 witnesses, all saying the same thing roughly. Surveillance video, grainy footage shown to the jury captured the push by Metcalf, followed immediately by Anthony stabbing and exit from the tent. So this is on video, by the way, guys. This is on video. Again, not even remotely similar to Trayvon Martin, because this is on video, right? And there's witnesses.
Arguing that Anthony was just acting in self-defense.
Anthony's own statements to the police after his arrest, he told the officers, I'm not alleged, I did do it. He put his hands on me, I told him not to, and asked if Metcalf will be okay. He admitted to stabbing, but claimed justification. So he admitted to doing it as well. That kind of defeats your whole he fell on your knife. The autopsy claimed that Metcalf was stabbed through the heart with a single 2.5-inch gaping wound that was unsurvivable. Physical evidence, Metcalf's bloodstained jacket was displayed, and the black knife recovered from Anthony's backpack was entered into evidence. And 911 first responder testimony, they were also present. No evidence showed Metcalf had any weapon or posed any threat at all. The confrontation was described as a verbal dispute followed by a push. Right? So that's the evidence right there.
As an option in front of the jury as well. So we're going to get into
it's
all
like
of this here.
Does the given force meet
there at the courthouse?
The taking
we, of course,
force?
have been in that
It's
courtroom
a
all
verbal
day, every day
altercation.
that this
Doesn't
trial
mean
has
you
been
kill somebody.
happening. We have been live blogging this as updates have been coming down. We have Jobin Puneker, who is still in the courtroom right now. He just sent as an update a little while ago saying that the jury is now back in the courtroom and that the judge was reading the punishment jury instructions. So he's basically, letting them know, here's what you can consider, here's what you cannot consider, and then they're going to send the jury out and they will immediately begin deliberating punishment in this case. Senior crime and justice reporter Rebecca Lopez and investigative reporter Tanya Iser have been live.
Adam Bailey. Yeah, blogging, yeah. Oh my gosh. Megan. Surreal. I suck at this. I apologize. With a $100 super chat. Oh my God. Thank you so much. Didn't even have a caption. We got to give Megan some love today. I appreciate that. I didn't plan on streaming Megan, but I really appreciate that. I love you. Thank you.
This the day began with closing arguments, as you said, in the guilt-innocence phase. And then the jury got this case at around 11 o'clock. And then in less than 2 hours, this jury was back. Surprising many people, a lot of our legal experts that have been with us, that have been inside the courtroom, thought that the deliberations would last longer. Bill Wertzke is a very seasoned prosecutor. He prosecuted this case. Many people felt like he just did a really, really good job on the other side. You had the defense, who has been trying to keep Karmelo Anthony out of jail. The jury began deliberating, and they came back with that very quick guilty verdict. And now we are in the punishment phase. We only heard from one witness in the punishment phase. Both sides waived their decision to actually give any kind of opening statements, or and so they basically, the defense started right away with the prosecution calling no witnesses at all. Only Karmelo Anthony's mother took the stand to ask this jury to give her son mercy, that he was remorseful. Our legal analyst,
that's probably the only thing you could do in that situation. How long did the trial start to finish? It was 1 week, Shani. 1 week. They deliberated for what, 2 hours, 1 hour?
So people knew exactly what was expected.
From what I had read on this case, it seemed really open and shut.
Sitting there listening to everything, you could just tell just the tension in there from a standpoint. You have two families that really have a lot on the line and everything, and so you kind of see the Metcalf family on one side, the Anthony family on the other side. Both families very emotional. After the verdict was read, relief, I think, by the Metcalf family, obviously disappointment by the Anthony family. But one thing that amazed me is whenever they did have a break after that, there were just some people that got up, one, because they were emotional, and the judge had said, hey, if you've got emotions, you can't stay in here. And they got up and respectfully left. But then others that once they heard the verdict, they were done. They got up and they walked out and everything like that. So just a very big day for both families, both supporters on both sides of everything.
And obviously, Jason, there has been a lot of emotion out here. We've been showing video of how the crowd reacted. Tanya, talk a little bit about what we were seeing out here at times when it came to this crowd and the reaction.
Speaking of this comment, Rimaru, you watch Slime, brother? Anyways, I like some Slime. If you being pushed means you fear for your life and need to stab people, there's something really wrong with you. Yeah, I had a guy come up to me at the gym like last year and like grab me by the shirt. He just grabbed me by the shirt. He didn't like fucking, but he was really mad because I left some weights on a bench. He was obviously tripping balls on gear because I've talked to him since then and he's been cool to me. But I didn't stab the motherfucker. I just like said, go back to your workout, brother. I was like, you need to calm the hell down and go back to your workout. And he did. Right? I didn't stab his ass. And I guarantee you if I stabbed his ass, I'd go to prison for the rest of my life. Because he hadn't done anything. Now, if he starts welling on me with a weight and trying to kill my ass, then yeah, maybe it's different. Carify says, Cody, please do give me a doobie doobie doo for your girl. Appreciate you. Doobie doobie doo. Doobie doobie doo. Oh my God. Doobie doobie doo. Oh my God. Doobie doo. Doobie doobie doo. Doobie doobie doo. Thank you, Carify. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. We love you.
Never about race. It was
got some bees for you. Get on it, doggone. Give her some bees in the chat. Thank you, guys.
Both sides, the lawyers, the families, everybody was cordial. Everyone agreed. It was out here sometimes that people that sometimes don't live in Collin County, some that came from out of state that were yelling at one another and making this about race. But Jason, the families and the attorneys and everyone in that courtroom were listening to the evidence, following the law, and it was all very cordial. Jason, that is basically what is happening out here. We're going to toss it back to you.
Yeah, so much still for us to get to in this hour. We're going to fit in a quick break right here just to keep you updated, though. We just got a message from inside the courtroom that says closing arguments are underway now in the punishment phase of this trial. Each side gets 20 minutes for that. As we're still awaiting that portion of this trial, you can keep track of what's happening in the courtroom through this live blog that I keep referring to. We have a whole team dedicated to sharing the...
What the hell's a blog? Hey, give me 2 seconds, guys. I got to go get my phone. I don't have it. I forgot about it like hours ago. It's been plugged up for hours. 2 seconds.
To come on this big breaking news this afternoon.
Got to stay up on
here. We'll be right back.
All right. I have survived. All right, I'm back. All right, thank you. Megan Saral Venmo'd $20 saying justice is colorblind. Thank you so much, Megan. What a beautiful lady. This is a very, very attractive lady that sent me a Venmo. I appreciate that. That usually never happens. It's always some gross ones. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, she's a good looking lady. All right. Real quick. Let me hit the super chat. First chair super chat. What the hell does that mean? Oh, never mind. I'm stupid. The chair stream. Yes. Thank you, Billy. I appreciate you. Thank you, Megan. I appreciate that. Such a good person. Reasons why I don't go to Minneapolis anymore. No one should ever go to Minneapolis. Adam Bailey says, are they already sentencing? Yes, they're deliberating, or they're doing closing arguments right now on sentencing. So, anyways. All right, let's move to a different feed. I like bouncing around between all these feeds to see what the hell's going on here. Can I watch Fox News without getting arrested? I don't know how this works. Never mind. Fox News has deleted their stream. I wonder what they said. They brought somebody on a little too spicy. All right. Everybody's on a. People still do commercials. What's wrong with these people? All right, we'll just keep this up. I'll keep this up for now. Get out of here, and then we'll go back to it. All right, thank you, Billy. I appreciate you. Something super wide, I'm sure. Yes. I mean, catfish. No. If they give him less than 50 years as a travesty, a life for a life is what it should be. Yeah, man, I think like 25 is a good number. I just don't think that that's going to happen because, again, I think their entire objective is going to be to try to reduce public outcry. What's up, Sean? How you doing, brother? That's how I see things. Like, I think you're going to get the dub. Like, if you're looking at it from that perspective, right? So the Metcalf family, they get some closure, but also the other family and the possibility of a public outcry like riots and stuff can be completely squashed if the number's really low. And I mean like 5 years, man. I mean like 5 years. And I would not be surprised to see a number that low. Now, personally, I think the appropriate number is 25 years. But I do expect that it will be lower than we think, or lower than everybody thinks, because they're going to definitely consider, I guarantee you they're going to consider the public reaction from this in sentencing. Now, whether they should or not, it's a different story, right? But I do think that's going to be a thing. You know? What's up, Ryan? 97. How you doing, brother? Where'd you go? I was wondering, what do you think about the McNugget situation? I think Juggernuggets. I think McJuggernuggets completely faked the whole situation. I think none of it was real. Just like him killing his dad and all that stuff. I think it was all to just find relevancy, which he did do. He totally did do. Crazy Sharp says the time for stupid games is over. The award ceremony for stupid prizes shall commence. Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. But that's what I see happening. I see it being way lower than we think. I think 25 years, though, is an appropriate number, but I don't see it happening, to be completely honest. No. Where'd you go? Hard to disagree. It'd be horrible. It's just 25 years. This dude not once admitted to his crime and lied over and over. He deserves no leniency. Well, he did admit to the crime immediately after he was arrested. So he told the police officers that he did it. His words were, where'd he go? He told the police, "I'm not alleged. I did it." He put his hands on me, and I told him not to. So he already admitted to the murder, right? So that's already a thing. Now, whether or not that's what happened in court is another story, but the evidence admitted in court was him admitting to it already, right? So that's whatever.
Praying and saying, come on, Austin, and that had a very big impact on the jury. We saw jurors in that courtroom crying. So when they're showing that, they're also, remember, the jury can go back and look at that video if they want, and that is very impactful and had a big impact on them.
Okay, so as the defense here is trying to make this move to make that range more 2 to 20 years instead of 5 to 99 years, I guess I would ask our attorney here, our expert here, does it bode well at all for Karmelo Anthony that in the punishment phase, the prosecution didn't put up any witnesses? As Rebecca was saying, the only witness in the punishment phase was Karmelo Anthony's mother, and that was for the defense. Does it bode well for him there that the jury didn't hear anything additional before they decide punishment?
Well, it bodes well for the defense to have the argument, hey, if he was a bad guy, you would have heard about it in punishment. The state would have brought that to you with other extraneous offenses. So it bodes well from the standpoint of what
BFG division, titty connoisseur. Lead G says no, he didn't. He did not admit. He admitted to defending himself. He asked the police if it was considered defending himself. I don't think he admitted to defending himself.
And so
his exact words to police was,
the state's going to argue, you have a dead kid here and you have someone that's not coming back. and you're going to see all of that stuff. So I think that it bodes well to argue
Where'd
he
it
would
go?
have heard more stuff if he was that bad of a guy.
All right. Thanks for that to all of you. Stick with us because we still, of course, have much more coverage to come on that. We're going to take a quick break. Right.
No, you might be
here,
right.
and
He
we
said
will
he
be
admitted to it,
right
but
back.
claimed justification. So you might be right, actually. You may be right. I may be wrong. Well, it just may be a lunatic you're looking for. It was not self-defense. I think I agree with that. I think we all agree with that. It's a very, very small amount of people that don't agree with that. It's self-defense, right? Like, yeah, I don't think any well-adjusted person can say that, you know. So it's all good, Lee G. I'm glad you're saying things. I'm not ever right. Don't worry about it, friend. Don't worry about it, friend. It's totally fine. Everybody's watching the same feed, and it's a helicopter feed. It's like, give me more than a helicopter. I need more. Here we go.
Married and have children. Prosecutors shared pictures of Metcalf on the ground with coaches doing CPR while others were praying on the track. We should pray for healing too, said Mitchell. How should we do it? Not through vengeance. It is not about leniency either. We trust you jurors will hold people accountable. So the judge gave the jurors instructions as the jury is now still deliberating and they're still in session. We're waiting to see what the sentence will be. Moments ago, we brought you some reaction that we heard earlier outside of the Collin County Courthouse. On your screen right now is a live look. You can still see a lot of people there and still an active police presence there outside the Collin County Courthouse. What we are going to do right now is we're going to play out some other remarks from somebody outside the.
I gotta say,
earlier today.
I am glad that people aren't freaking beating the shit out of each other right
Sir,
now.
I understand you're from McKinney here. Yes. Okay. So have you been following along the trial all these 4 days?
I have. Yes, ma'am.
And so with this verdict coming down, I understand it's obviously made some people here in the crowd a little unhappy. Any initial reactions here? You look a little somber, if I'm being honest.
I mean, I just tell people this, man, is until you've been in this situation, you don't know how anybody's feeling. You know what I'm saying? And this is a no-win situation on either side, you know. You have a child that is not going to be here anymore. God bless his family. And to the family who's going through this situation with their son, it's unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? And I just tell people, like, we don't know all the facts. We don't know what was said, what was not said, because we weren't in that courtroom. So the only great thing about this is, you know, I just hope defense, you know, do the appeal, and they just, you know, step on all, you know, what the areas that they missed, they bring it back up, because like I said, it's a crazy situation, you know. Either way it go, there's no win in this.
For sure. And now with this case finally over, I feel like it's kind of been this dark cloud hanging over Collin County, McKinney, Frisco. You know, do you think that this will be a trial that maybe will always have a mark on this area?
I don't think it's a trial. There's been cases way before this that were kind of went the same way. I think until the process changed of, you know, how they, you know, pick jurors and just how the judicial system is, then it'll change. But, you know, like I said, these situations are very hard. They could go either way. You know, like I said, I shout out to both families. You know, we all pray for both families, because this is a no-win situation. You know, it's just hard for everybody.
Absolutely. Have you followed along the case since it happened? I mean, do you have any connection to, you know, Karmelo Anthony, or, I mean, the track meet? I mean, do you have any connection to this case other than you live here and you heard about it?
I don't have any connection to anybody. I know nothing about either child. You know, I just know.
I think it's a measured response. I disagree with a few things there, but it's a measured response. At least he's not like, these Wow, motherfuckers. That's what I'd be doing. No, Dead Reckoning says justice has been delivered now for the circus and rights. Hey, man, what's up? Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you, Dead Reckoning. Dead Reckoning, my boy. Thank you. Billy says once it gets dark, rights my habit. Texas is fast and getting. Well, Texas is Texas, right? But Texas is not the Texas of old. Texas is the Texas of new. So I don't know, man, what to expect. I do think there's going to be some unrest, right? I think there'll be some unrest.
His defense attorney there. Is that why you're here? Because you have some experience with this and you wanted to show your support, or are you here for another reason?
No, I was here just because I wanted to see justice. I mean, I want to see, fairness. And like I said, I wasn't in the courtroom, so I can't say what's going on. I'm not a legal expert, but it's just, it has to be fair across the board. In Collin County, if this trial was in any other city, we probably have, totally different, things happen, but it's Collin County. And, like I said, until you've gone through the judicial system, there's not a lot that, people can just say. People can talk and, they have feelings. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody has freedom of speech. But this is just one thing. It's just, we don't know the facts. So, we still don't know the facts. We still don't know the facts,
Unless you were inside the courtroom.
Unless you're inside the courtroom. I just know this. There's still a brother. There's still Karmelo. There's going to be appeal. So we never know how this going to be.
What is your...
All right, so that was...
I mean, that is true. I completely agree, Hamilton. I completely agree. Will there be another egg video? I've told all the egg stories, man. I've considered calling him if he's still alive, which I think he is, and asking him to come on a show, but I don't know how that would go because it's been a long time. Maybe he would like to do it, I don't know. But also that might break the internet, and also he might try to get my channel removed and say some crazy shit. So that's the way I see it. But we'll see. We'll see. And he'll still be guilty after the appeal for sure. Riley Marshall, it's all good. I love you. Make sure you guys do me a huge favor and like this early ass stream. I don't usually do these early streams. I appreciate you. We already almost hit Naked Snake somehow, which is wild. Oh, Megan going crazy. Just don't let Egg near PDA for damn sure. He sounded real happy at the end. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah. There's a difference between knowing the facts and not accepting the facts. I agree with that. I completely agree with that. Jay says, why so early? Oh, I wanted to stream when he was found guilty, just to talk about it a little bit. Because I've been following the case this whole time, and it would just happen so fast. Like I've been thinking about talking about it every day, but Bricks and Minifigs keeps coming up. And I was like, oh, I can talk about it next week. And then it's already over. The trial lasted barely a week. Right? Barely a week. It's insanity. It's too fast. I couldn't keep up, brother. I couldn't even keep up. But speaking on the Bricks and Minifigs thing just for a second, Reckless Ben made a statement. Reckless Ben made a statement that he cannot release his new episode of the Bricks and Minifigs thing. He has been silenced by the courts. They delivered us servings through email to him. So now he is no longer allowed to talk about it. So it's over. He cannot talk about Bricks and Minifigs anymore. Yeah, they silenced his ass, which is weird because I guess Utah or whatever supersedes freedom of speech, right? That's pretty crazy shit. I was not expecting that to happen. So he's apparently done talking about it. So we'll see. I think this is just going to bring more people in. I'm going to be honest. I think this just brings more people in to talk about this and to blow it up and to make people probably do more unsavory things, which I don't think is a good thing. To be completely honest, I don't think that's a good thing. But I think that's what's going to happen. So we'll see what happens. Let's pull up some other stuff here. If I can do things here. He's a smart guy. He'll think of something. We'll see.
What do you want us to do? What do you want us to do at this point? What? I'm lost for it. I don't know what to do. I got 5 boys. I don't know what. I ain't got nothing to tell them no more. You can't walk away no more.
Rest in peace, Trayvon Martin. Let me ask you this right now. I hear.
Thank you, Enigma.
What do you want us to do? What?
You know, like, I guess at least they're not saying like anything about Kyle Rittenhouse, right? I gotta say, at least they're not saying anything about Kyle Rittenhouse, because at least you can say Trayvon Martin, I guess, and then it kind of, because that could have gone either way when you think about it, but still, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. One thing she could do is remind her kids to not stay. Yeah, it's that easy. Like, if you get into a fight, you get into a fight, right? We've all been in fights before when we were, teenagers, right? If you get in a fight, defend yourself, slap around, and then leave. You're probably going to get, some kind of accountability from the school you're at. Maybe you get suspended, something to that nature, right? But there is no way in absolute hell that you got to kill somebody, right? No way in absolute hell.
I mean, I'm questioning the jury. I asked them, how did you reach your verdict? How did you reach it so quickly? What happened? It was a 4-inch knife. He used it one time. He was pushed. I'm not saying that it was right, but what are you doing? How did you get this verdict? I'd want to know. My whole identity as a defense attorney would be in question, right? I'm questioning my identity right now, and I have nothing to do with this case. How could you come back like that? I would be enraged. I'm enraged right now. This is very upsetting. And then on top of it, to compound it, this dumb judge didn't allow cameras in the courtroom. What was your wisdom? What were you thinking? How you put on a robe? Are you that much of an imbecile that you won't let cameras in the courtroom in a case like this? This is not a rape case. This is something different. This is something that's clearly the whole community is enraged, and you knew that before the trial started. So, I mean, this is very upsetting.
The judge probably did that to prevent any outcry, to prevent any insanity from coming forward, right? To try to do everything in their power, right? To prevent like riots and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, who cares how long a case is, how long it lasts, right? Not everything has to be like the Johnny Depp trial where it's freaking 8 weeks long or some shit.
The judge as well in this case said it was not a case about race, but you cannot deny that just the facts of the case and what we've seen play out since then and what we're happening now is because...
Do none of these people like have jobs? What are we doing right now?
The defendant is black, the victim is white, and that's the bottom line. But again, this is what I alluded to when I said this has brought out what's bubbling, right? But
no one has learned anything, man. No one's learned anything. No one's learned anything.
Cannot deny
this dude right here is trying to provoke this guy or other people to do something so he can fight back or kill them. Literally what this entire case was about. This guy's doing the exact same fucking thing. Doing the same exact thing. Trying to get people to attack him so he can kill them. Like, how have you not? This is literally what this case was about. And people are trying to reenact it and do it again. I don't understand the thought process where you're like, no matter what my actions are at all, if you do anything, then I can just kill you. And then be like, oh, I wouldn't do anything. It's like, dude, look, you're doing the whole bully high school thing. Hit me. So you can be justified in attacking someone. If you guys we all went to high school. We all went to middle school. The exact same shit. I got bullied all the time because I was obese as fuck when I was in school. I was a big motherfucker. So like, bullies would get in my face and get right in my face and start screaming in my face to hit them, trying to provoke me to hit them so they could beat the shit out of me and claim that I hit them first. It's just bully mentality. I thought Ben ran to Mexico, and if he did, I would just release part 3 and tell Bricks and Minnie fuck off and just ruin them for good. I mean, yeah, But here's the, I mean, it doesn't matter if he's in Mexico, right? That doesn't matter. That just means he can't get scooped up. You know what I'm saying? He probably eventually wants to come back to the U.S. if he hasn't already, Billy, right? That's the biggest thing. So, thank you, Billy. Appreciate you, Billy. All right. Almost an even 200 to Naked Snake already. Jesus.
And we do have a verdict in this case, and I am hearing that it is a guilty verdict, guilty of murder in this case of Karmelo Anthony. Brooke is moving to the camera right now as we wait for the official word. We expect that this means that they will come out and make a statement at some point. And we do have a verdict in this case, and I am hearing that it is a guilty.
Yeah, well, see, Enigma, like accountability, and I've talked about this before, accountability sucks. Even for people that like they take accountability every day in their life. There are people out there that take accountability every day in their life, and no one really likes to. Accountability sucks, man. It really does. You know, it'll make you feel good about yourself once you tackle what you need to tackle, but it does suck. It's stressful. It causes anxiety, but you have to do it as a human. A lot of people will literally skirt that and avoid it 100% their entire life and never face accountability for anything. You know, it's like I've dated girls before that would literally they would fuck you over. Girls would fuck you over, man. And all you would want from them is just for them to acknowledge they fucked you over and for them to just apologize. And they would always do this thing, right? They would say, I'm sorry, but, right? They would say, I am sorry, but, which meant they weren't sorry because you completely disqualify an apology by following it up with a justification. I'm sorry, but that's avoiding accountability. And I dated countless girls in my 20s. They all did the same shit. I'm sorry, but begrudgingly. When the but comes, you invalidate everything you said before. I'm sorry, but you made me mad. I'm sorry, but you did this. I'm sorry, but last year you did this. I'm sorry. It's always the same shit. It should be, I'm sorry, and I feel terrible that I hurt you, and I want to work on myself to not do that again. That's it. Why she got a bat? He got a Fleetwood Mac shirt on, brother. What's up? How's my man listening to Fleetwood Mac? They're screaming they want justice. Now, I'm not trying to be a dickbag here, but that's what they got. That's what they got today. It was justice. It's exactly what happened, right? It was justice. That's what they got. Right? Because, what's up, Vestige? A kid was killed, was stabbed at a track meet for basically no reason. Let's be completely transparent here. And the kid that stabbed him got convicted of first-degree murder. That's justice, brother. Now, whether or not he gets sentenced to a lot of time is a different story at all. They're deliberating on it right now as we speak.
To protect black people. Anytime a white man or a white child can go and put their hands aggressively on anybody and something like this occur, it's self-defense. It's self-defense. You put your hand on me and see how I respond. Beat your motherfucking ass.
Oh my, all right, okay. Hold on, everybody, chill out. Oh my gosh. Jesus Christ. You can't set that precedent that if somebody brushes up against you, you get to kill their ass, brother. It's not that, you can't do that. Look at this lady. This lady's funny. You ready? You're gonna beat that motherfucking ass, ready?
Aggressively on anybody and something like this occur, it's self-defense. It's self-defense. You put your hand on me and see how I respond. Beat your motherfucking ass.
Here's a really great point. This lady just brought up right here, the beat your motherfucking ass lady. This lady right here said, beat your motherfucking ass. Okay? Beat your motherfucking ass. If this guy puts his hands on her, she beat his motherfucking ass. Right. But does she kill him? You actually could beat his ass. If this dude grabbed you and threw you to the ground, yeah, you could start swinging on him. No one's getting charged with assault. Probably likely the guy that threw you on the ground will get charged with assault. Right? But if this guy put his hand on your shoulder and you stab him in the neck and he dies, you're definitely going to prison. Okay? Where everybody's thinking in complete absolutes, and I don't know why. The reason this kid was convicted was because he acted in a complete absolute. Somebody touched you, therefore you killed them. That's not the appropriate response. Okay? If somebody touches you, you can't just kill them. If you fear for your life, that's completely different. If Austin Metcalf would have tackled Karmelo Anthony, put his hands around his neck and was choking him out, you know what I'm saying? And no one was doing it. He was choking him out, like strangling him. And then he pulled out a knife and like stabbed the dude. There would be a different conversation happening. Now, would it be the same outcome? I don't know. Probably not. But he shoved Karmelo Anthony, and then Karmelo Anthony killed him immediately. It's not the appropriate response. Beating you motherfucking ass, like she's saying right here, would be a more appropriate response. You're probably still going to get reprimanded, but still, like, you're not going to go to prison for the rest of your life. Carrie says taking accountability is also living your life in a manner that you act accordingly and be sane. A sane, rational person while not being racist or violent. These people are racist. Just listen to them. Thank you, Carify. I appreciate you. Carify. Yeah. Yep. I agree, Jerry Ost. I agree. You can't provoke yourself into a fight and claim... Exactly. It's the bully defense. Hit me first so I can beat your ass.
You put your hand on me and see how I respond. Beat your motherfucking ass.
What will the Anthony
What will the Anthony family? What will the people that's standing behind the Anthony family do? That's the question you should ask. We're going to stand behind them and we're going to fight. That's what's going to happen.
What is your relationship with Canada?
I have no relationship. We black. We're brothers. We're black.
I don't know, man. This crowd's funny. What is your relation to the family? Somebody like, we black. Oh my God.
I have no relationship. We black. We're brothers. We're black.
This lady's funny. She should be a comedian, for real.
We're brothers and sisters. We're blacks. We're the indigenous people of this earth. Ain't nobody out here killing them, bitch. We black.
We are the indigenous people. I'll hold my iPhone 20. It's all right, everybody. Hey, we calm down. We all need to calm down, all right? If you're going to go the route of we are the indigenous people of this planet, therefore we can't be charged with murder, you're starting to get into the weeds now, baby. I liked the beat your ass part. That was a good part. Beat your motherfucking ass. That was a good thing. That was a fun response. Now we're getting into the weeds now, baby.
Black people, black sisters and brothers, black kings and queens, we gotta stick together. This makes no goddamn sense. That young boy, he was defending.
Just don't Google FBI statistics.
In his goddamn self.
Donald Trump is a goddamn bully. Donald Trump
We gotta stick together. We gotta stop hurting one another.
What the hell is Trump had? What?
Y'all don't see what's going on? Just like they doing this to Karmelo, guess what? It could be your child, little kids out here, it could be you.
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, I disagree with that. The thing that's happening to Karmelo shouldn't be your children, because your children should not be stabbing people and killing them with zero premeditated response from the other party, right?
And I'll be out here for y'all. We gotta fight for one another. It's us. We all we got. They say that it's not about race, but there was not one goddamn black person on that jury. It was automatically about race. I don't want to hear that bullshit. Straight up.
No, see, look, I understand the passion, but if you sat this lady down and read her the facts of the case and the evidence against Karmelo Anthony, what would her response be? You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. Especially if you're like not reading about it, you're just like, he's black, therefore innocent, right? What's probably happening here is she's like, he's black, therefore he's being wronged. That's probably what she's thinking, right? I don't need to hear anything. He's being wronged, right? And I understand the perspective. But if you read the facts out to her in this case and the evidence against Karmelo Anthony, how would her response? What would her response be? You know, what would her response be? You know, Frankie. Well, listen, Frankie Donkey. This would be her response would be to sweep, deny the facts. Yeah, you're probably right. But Frankie, look, here's the issue. It's like, yeah, you could definitely see the passion, right? More so in that situation, I would imagine. Random and Brady Commenter says he's funny and Christy Mayer for sure. Off the cuff funny. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. That's kind of what I would like to see. I would really like to see what somebody like this's response would be to the facts of the case. And like you said, Zelosi did deny, probably, yeah.
Hold on. That's not necessary. We understand the N-word very well. We use it, we holler it, we understand. Niggas being niggas. All I'm saying like the fuck I said. It is time to just disperse. See how I got a freedom of speech? You got control of it. And you said, why are we fighting each other? I'm on your side. I want Karmelo free, not locked up. So why am I sitting here fighting you? Why is another black man arguing with a black man? Why are you out here calling these niggas and great like they want us to? It's like some of us out here doing something not Let me tell you why. That's the best thing for you. Go some chasing, trolling motherfuckers out here. That's why. Y'all, they laughing at y'all. The enemy who y'all need to be arguing with, they right there. They watching y'all, they recording y'all, they laughing at y'all. Looking at y'all laughing, fuck him. Look at him. Exactly. Why y'all get consumed by me? You shouldn't be worried about me. You ain't gotta worry about me. Ignore me. Focus on justice. Don't worry about me, baby. Don't worry about me. I ain't gonna shut up for shit, little ass girl. You got to talk to me now. I'll slap that motherfucking phone out your motherfucking face. Fuck you.
I don't know, man. Look, this is more comedy than anything, I think. But like, it's funny how she's like, we shouldn't be fighting each other. And then that guy, she's like, I'll slap that motherfucking phone at your face. There's something funny about it. There's something funny about in like one breath saying we shouldn't be fighting each other, and the next breath saying she's gonna slap that motherfucking phone out of that dude's face. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I hear what you're saying, baby, but you're immediately like going the opposite direction. I don't think you believe the things you're saying here. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. These videos are a little funny. The other videos, that one guy was really, really concise. I like that guy. But a lot of these are a little silly. It's just people that, like, everybody's starting to get mad at each other in these crowds, and I think they relatively agree with each other. Oh my gosh, man, this is wild. Why are they not showing any of this stuff on the news? This stuff's way more entertaining. Everybody's so pissed. The fights are breaking out. Oh well, that makes sense. I hate that. This was the dancing guy. The dancing guy. I've always wondered if people take time off work to do this. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get how everybody's always off work. You know,
county since 2025 when this took place. Okay, And these kinds of face-to-face, emotion-rising, shouting matches really do no good, but we've seen them become more and more intense, even as this trial has progressed, Eden, as you were talking about, since last week. Emotions are boiling high on both sides, and these kind of verbal confrontations that we're looking at here right now, Eden, just show us really what's right under the surface that has been brought out with this particular case.
Absolutely. And I think this is probably going to paint the picture of how things are going to be once the verdict is announced, which we are waiting.
And I tell you what,
for.
like, I don't know about you guys, and you guys can tell me in the chat. There is never, and look, I guess different situations, but there has never been a point in my life where I wanted to go out and like get in people's face or argue with people about something happening in the news. Now, look, I might have my own opinions on the outside looking in when I'm paying attention to stuff, but there's never been a bone in my body that wanted to go out and argue with people on the street and put myself in some kind of dangerous situation or altercation that could leave me either dead or in prison or, you know, something else. That's never made sense to me. And it's never, it doesn't seem like it would be appropriate or make sense, right? But people are doing that, and I don't understand that. Like, and now look, maybe it's some people's jobs, maybe journalists are out there. I've just never really been interested in that. I love following this stuff, like from the outside looking in, but mainly the trials or something to that nature or what's going on with these things, never actually being there and being in people's faces. That's something I don't really get. But that's just me. Maybe you're different. But I would never want to be out here getting my cheeks clapped, right? I have AC at my house. Why would I go anywhere? You know, the AC is beautiful. I love the AC. Who wants to be out in the heat? That's exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, I'm saying same exact shit I'm saying. Never want to go in the heat. By the way, make sure you guys do me a big ass favor and like the show. Give it a good old fashioned like. Give it a kiss. Appreciate you guys. Give it a good old fashioned kiss. You guys have been great and based. All right, let's get some super chats. Super Martin says news can't show the behavior undermines. Yeah. Well, I mean, I know we're like fucking around, but you're kind of right, because the media is going to want to portray it as, and I think the media has gotten a little bit better. And hear me out when I say this, but I think the media wants to portray it more as a more professional thing. That's why when you watch the news programs about this whole situation, it shows like a helicopter view of people just kind of standing around, but that's not actually what's happening on the ground. And then it could sway public opinion. So when you see people kind of freaking out, especially if you've been following the actual evidence of the case and what's actually happening, and you see people that very, very obviously are not, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of the same thing as remember when Kyle Rittenhouse, like the Kyle Rittenhouse stuff was happening back in the day, and people still to this day, 2026, claim that Kyle Rittenhouse like went to Kenosha and like killed black people. Still to this day, people believe this. Unironically, think this. Even though he shot 3 white dudes, no black people were injured. 3 white dudes were shot. 2 of them were sex offenders. And 1 of them illegally had a firearm and was also a criminal. They still claim that he shot black people. So it's not insane to think that a lot of these people that are reacting in a really emotional and passionate way aren't actually following the case at all. They're just like, the justice system is going after this kid, and that's all I care about, right? That's kind of the way I see it. Chai Chief, fiery but mostly peaceful. That's a classic screenshot. It's like mostly peaceful protest, and it's just everything's on fire. It's comedic. That's the reason I like it. It's literally just comedy at that point. So look at that. $1.99 a naked snake. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Thank you guys. Thank you, Chai T. Kara Foss is like how CNN said fiery but most peaceful. Yeah, it's totally B. Says you guys were on the same damn page, huh? Damn. Thank you, Carify. I appreciate you. Love you, Carify. Love you, Chai T. Look at all these great people. You guys are awesome today. You're just supporting my dumb ass for no reason. Diecast Driven. What's up, brother? How you doing, dude? How you doing, dude? We're just reacting to this case and the guilty verdict and the atmosphere outside the court.
That's what they saying. I don't know how true it is. It just
I'm sorry, this is completely performative and unnecessary and cringe. As she holds her cigarettes. This is equivalent. This is equivalent to people literally having a mental breakdown because their favorite streamer announced they're going on a break. Like this is hyper parasocial like theater. That's really, really cringe. Unless you are this kid's mother or family, you do not need to be reacting this way. This is too much. It's way too much. The kid that you're upset about was not killed. He killed someone. Okay? That kid is actually literally not alive anymore. His family no longer have a son. And you're crying or pretending to cry, in my opinion, over the guy that killed him because he's gonna face accountability. That's insanity. Come on, brother. There's no reason for that. It's silly. Absolutely.
They saying murder. They saying murder. They saying murder. They saying no manslaughter. They saying murder. I thought it was manslaughter too. They saying guilty of murder on Fox right now. They saying guilty of murder.
This dude's a smart guy. He's like, get the hell up. Get out of here.
They're saying guilty of murder.
I swear to God, I'm sick of this shit. I'm tired of it. I'm tired.
I'm tired of seeing this on the news and being angry about it. Look at this dude. He's like, bro, I got this shit on camera. Look at him. Look at him.
I don't give a fuck. I'm tired. That is sick. That is sick. That is sick. You went through the same shit.
This dude's trying to get her. Stop. Please, God, stop. You're just going too hard, baby. Going way too hard. That's silly, man. It's very, very silly. Tired of seeing it on the news? Like, what are you talking about? Like, do you not know the facts of this case? It's getting a little silly. The kid was asked to leave. Karmelo Anthony was asked to leave 15 times. Issued a verbal threat that 20 other witnesses confirmed on the stand. He then pulled out a knife after being shoved and stabbed this dude and killed him. And then ran away and then was arrested and then admitting to stabbing him to the police. There's nothing else about this case. That's it. Like, it's a very interesting way to react. It's silly. You know, it would be completely different if 15 guys jumped Karmelo and were beating the shit out of him, and then he stabbed one of them. That'd be a completely different story and likely justified. This was a high school, like, spat. I was in high school. You were in high school. We were all in high school. High school spat. Maybe somebody gets slapped. Maybe somebody gets pushed. Maybe a small fight happens and they get broke up. And then we all go to school the next day. You don't stab people as a result of that. And that's why we're talking about this. It must be exhausting to live with that much anger in your heart. I agree, Diecast Driven. I agree. By the way, speaking of anger in your heart, Megan Seriol, you got to text me and let me know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. With $157 super chat. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. What the absolute hell did I do to deserve this? You ain't got to do that. I appreciate that. Jeez. It's insanity. How much is that? I can't even do the math, brother. Is that 337? God. That can't be right. That can't be right. Thank you so much, Megan. It says for Loki. Yes, thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah, my dog passed away a few weeks ago. It was not a fun time. So he was real old. So I really appreciate that, Megan. I really appreciate that. Big shout out to Megan, everybody. God damn. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Megan, thank you. Hey, I'm going to give her some B's. Everybody give Megan some B's in the chat. You just search emotes and type in B. Or copy and paste my B's for her. She deserves a few B's in her life, okay? And of course, on Kick, you just click the B. It's that easy. Thank you, Megan. We appreciate you and we love you. Thank you for supporting me and this goofy ass community. It keeps me going, so I appreciate that. Matt McCuba says if he gets anything less than life, I'm going gorilla. I'm going to get all the Pokemon in Legos. He's not going to get life. There's no way in hell. He'll get maximum 25 years, but I think he'll get as low as 5 or 10. Because again, they don't want a extreme public outcry as a result of this. He killed someone over stupid shit. Yeah, I agree, Rockstar. I'm right there with you. Right there with you. Chatty says they don't understand accountability. They don't understand. You talking about women? Oh, gotcha. Gotcha, bitch. Love you, Chatty. He was 17 when he did it, Shani. People were talking about getting the death penalty. And he was 17 when it occurred, so it's not going to happen. So, anyways, let's continue, guys. Sorry. I just wanted to shout out Megan for being the GOAT. The GOAT. Yes. Where am I? Where am I? Yes. Okay. Yes. I got it now. I can do math. I'm talented. Talented. All right. Thank you, guys. All right. Let's pull up some stuff. Check Rumble had to send $1. Oh, it's your Drex's unused Baldo. I had to send chats as to do $1 bucket. Thank you, random. I'll check it out. Yeah. So you said on Rumble, Drex's unused Baldo. It says a parallel to this case. In my neck of the woods, 5 high school students stab 4 students. News doing the news thing when the judge reduced bail from $750K to $250. Thing is, he was jumped, actual self-defense. I bet Rakita will have opinions about the court silencing Ben's freedom of speech via the gag order. Also, sorry for the $1 chats. Rumble keeps airing. It's all good, brother. Yeah, I don't know. It would be interesting to see what Nick says about it, but I don't know. They're definitely infringing on his freedom of speech. Speaking of freedom of speech, Shadow with 10 gifted subs on Kick. Oh, give him a doobie-doobie-doo. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. God dang, brother. The top dog of all time in gifted subs is going hard as hell. Thank you, Shadow. Appreciate you, brother. All right. Let's continue with this. And there it is again. Could have been my son. Could have been my son. Yeah. Yeah, probably not the best idea to go with that defense, but here we are. That's how it is sometimes. And they're currently deliberating right now. All right, here is this guy again. So this guy's he's like an activist. Here we go.
I speak on behalf of myself, Minister Dominic Alexander. I speak on behalf of myself as president of the Next Generation Action Network. The Next Generation Action Network wanted to respect this process, to be able to make sure that nobody said that the Next Generation Action Network obstructed this process, interfered in this process. But what this process did is shown that Black lives do not matter in Collin County. It showed us that time and time in American history, it has shown us to remove emotions from yet the law. This trial showed that it put emotions over the law. After Trayvon Martin and so many countless names, it has shown us that Black life is not safe in Collin County. It showed us that they did not listen to the law. It showed clearly that a judge interfered in this process. It showed very clearly that a Black boy was allowed, not one Black soul on a jury. And all white jury.
What happens if there was someone black on that jury? Because if they saw the evidence, they're going to come back with a guilty verdict no matter what. So what would be the rhetoric then? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be fair. The evidence was overwhelming and brutal. There was almost no way it was going to come back any other way. I think everybody pretty much predicted this end. So what would have happened if there were a black man or a black woman on that jury as well, and they also came back with a guilty verdict? What would have happened?
Convicted him in 2 to 3 hours. We know that they did not prove their case. They are currently sentencing Karmelo Anthony, but we know that the Next Generation Action Network put the first $10,000 towards an appellate attorney. And we will fight Collin County like hell. I respected this process. I allowed and called for peace in this process. But Black America should be very upset about what went on today. Now, before
It sounds like he's inciting, though. You know, it sounds like he's inciting, which is dangerous, right? You don't want that. Anyways.
Is sort of back in wait and see mode. They're all seeking shelter in the shade. When the verdict came down, though, they had all consolidated right here in front of the courthouse. They were standing out here waiting to hear what the jury's decision was, and you could see the news start to ripple through the crowd. If they didn't get it from their phones, they heard it from the guy who was running through the crowd yelling, guilty of murder, guilty of murder. And there was a big reaction. It was an emotional one. There were people who were crying. There were people yelling. There were a couple who appeared to collapse on the ground. We were speaking just a little while ago to some women who came here from around North Texas, one from South Dallas, one from DeSoto, about what brought them here. They said they were here to support the defendant, Karmelo Anthony, and his family. And they said that they were disappointed, that their hearts were broken by this verdict. They said that they didn't feel like the system worked in this case. Listen to what they had to say.
I feel like, and this is just my perspective, from everything that has been put out in regards to this case, I feel like more so with the jury that he had amongst what is supposed to be his peers, they weren't going to look at actual facts of the situation. They were going off of emotions and color. And unfortunately with that, he didn't have, he wasn't going to get a fair fight in this.
I think people are projecting at this point. I think this is projection. Are you kidding? The entire outcry outside this courtroom is all based on emotion. The facts of the case are clear cut as shit, brother. There is almost no defense. Like, to be fair, and a lot of people were clowning his clowning his lawyer, Karmelo Anthony's lawyer, but he had almost nothing to work with here. He had nothing to work here. Like, it was like, oh, here's all these witnesses that saw you kill this dude. They saw you verbally threaten him. You admitted to killing him after the fact. You fled the scene. It was not appropriate force. You were asked to leave and kept giving people threats. Like, if they touched you were going to fucking kill them. And then you killed them. There is no emotion involved. These are the facts of the case. And claiming that, oh, well, the whole jury was white, therefore they're all emotional. What the fuck are we talking about? This is projection, right? It's very interesting to see this. Rockstar says he was told multiple times to leave. He made his choice. Now he's laying it, plays stupid games, and stupid prizes, and somehow he's a victim. Well, this is the issue about this. Like, and I think the media is at fault for this, and so is social media. They're making it all about race just because it's going to bring in more eyeballs and more interest to the case. Right? None of the people that are profiting off of that are going to be around these people or have to worry about retaliation. Right? They just want to watch the world burn and get paid for it. Billy says they'll claim that it wasn't justified. There's no black people. Such a weird way of thinking. Well, I can understand, like, if I'm trying to like really, really look, I can understand being frustrated because there was no one kind of representing you as a person on the jury. But again, my theory is that it wouldn't have mattered. Like, the facts of the case are so ridiculously strong against Karmelo Anthony. I don't think it would have changed anything. You know, to be completely fair, if I was asked to be on a jury and I was a black guy and I read the facts of the case, my happy ass would be like, nah, bro, I ain't gonna be on this jury because I might catch some strays, and I'm not trying to do that shit. You know what I'm saying? So, thank you, Billy. I appreciate you.
Yeah, those supporting Karmelo Anthony have in particular been upset by the absence of any black jurors in this trial. Now, there was a bit of a mix from what we could tell of white, Middle Eastern, and Southeast Asian ethnicities on the jury, but no juror who identified as black. And in a trial that already had some heightened racial tensions, that is a big point of contention among some of the protesters out here. Again, those who are out here supporting Karmelo Anthony. Law enforcement, meanwhile, has been very aware of the tension out here. They have been present. We have seen McKinney police. We have seen Collin County deputies. We've even seen state troopers, and you might be able to see them behind me. They have at times up there on the courthouse steps. Right now, I see them parked in front of the courthouse. They are keeping watch. The protesters who are out here throughout the day, I told you, they are seeking shelter in the shade, but they are still out here. They are still waiting to see if anything else comes out this day, and if we will hear a sentence coming out this evening.
We'll look forward to it. Andrea, thank you so very much for taking us. And
one
thing,
time
despite the heightened emotions that goes along with all of this, there has been no violence outside the courtroom today, and we wanted to say that out loud because it's worth acknowledging. But the trial, we know it's got national
It's been close,
attention.
no cigar.
There has been some misinformation floating around, of course, online. There have been inflammatory posts over recent months. So be careful what you sift through. Technically, only 9 members of the trusted media were allowed inside the courtroom during the trial, and CBS News Texas was one of those 9 to bring you what happened, as it happened, and as it continues to happen through this evening and even into tomorrow if we...
Woman you just heard, now that woman you just heard from witnessed the aftermath of the crash today.
All right. They're covering other stuff now. Stay on topic, CBS. All right. Ashley with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Ashley. How you doing, baby? Welcome back, Ashley. Hope you're doing well. We love you. We appreciate you. We're thinking about you. We're thinking about you every day and night. Shadow, my man, with 5,000 kicks. Oh, my God. Dude, he's single-handedly raising kick above and beyond. My man. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Shout out to Shadow, brother. He's the standalone kicker. He's the standalone kicker and standalone gifter today, and in a big way. Drox man says, as a black man, I approve the outcome of this trial. Shit, man. Come on, brother. How could you do that? You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed. Listen here, Boosh. Calm down. All right, here we go. Let's get back to it. Very, very interesting stuff here, man. It's been very weird. But I think people are waiting on the sentencing right now. I think they are specifically waiting on the sentencing of Karmelo Anthony to determine how the reaction is going to be. And to be fair, I think if it's anything more than 5 years, the town will burn. And I'm going off of past stuff. I'm not going off of anything else. I'm just going off of past things, right? Like, that's kind of the pattern, right? And I think that's what, if it's anything more than 5 years, it's gonna happen. Droxman, you how could you get him? Will, what's that, brother? Hey, there, man. Says, hey, man, followed you back in the day with the GameStop minimum wage job story rants. When you start transitioning current events, politics, condolences for your fur baby. I think I transitioned to that in 2021 or 2. And I just talk about whatever. Like, I've been talking about the bricks and minifig situation a lot. which is the thing happening out in like Utah and Oregon with that Lego store stealing all those Legos from the Manziel family. But today's just been random. I just like saw this verdict and I've been following it and I was like, oh damn, I didn't even get to stream about this at all. Because the case was so fast. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Will. I appreciate that, brother. So I was like, well, I'm gonna stream about it today and talk about it and give my take on everything and kind of give you guys a chance to hang out and chill. The old penguin doobie-doobie-doo. The penguin doobie-doobie-doo. Where'd he go? No way. These guys on these different news stations keep moving on from this stuff every 2 seconds, and I'm tired of it. Get back to what we were talking about. All right. Okay, it is back. Never mind. Let's go back here real quick. Okay. I like the music.
He's found guilty. He was found guilty.
Here we begin WFA News at 5 with breaking news in the trap meet stabbing trial. A jury found Karmelo Anthony guilty of murder for killing Austin Metcalf last spring. Metcalf and Anthony were both 17 years old at the time, and Anthony is 19 now. The trial immediately entered the punishment phase, and jurors just heard arguments from both defense and prosecutors as they weigh Anthony's sentence. We have live team coverage of the verdict and sentencing from the Collin County Courthouse. Senior crime and justice reporter Rebecca Lopez, senior investigative reporter Tanya Iser, and Cole Sullivan are all there to bring us up to speed. We're going to start with Rebecca and Tanya.
Well, Chris, this jury began deliberating about 11 o'clock, and then just before 2 o'clock, less than 2 hours, they had a verdict, and they did find Karmelo Anthony.
2 hour deliberation.
They also could have deliberated the lesser charge of manslaughter, but once they found him guilty of murder, manslaughter was off the table. He faces 5 to 99. But Jobin Puneker has been inside the courtroom, and he has
5 to 99 years is what he's looking at. Oof.
Testimony from Karmelo Anthony's mom, which is the only witness that was called to testify in this punishment phase. Jobin, tell us what the courtroom was like, first of all.
You know, we always remember when it's really loud in a courtroom where people are talking about things, and you also remember when people aren't saying a thing. And the quietest moment ever experienced, at least in this trial, is the moment before the jury walks in to deliver that verdict. And then the next thing we hear after the verdict is read, Kayla Hayes, this is Karmelo's mom, audibly crying. And it's loud. She's the only one making noise in that moment. Her grandmother, Karmelo's grandmother.
I appreciate you, Shadow, for giving me your dusty kicks. I love it.
There's also crying right next to her.
Thank you.
Obviously a very difficult moment. And one moment that I do want to speak to is there's a moment when Karmelo Anthony is now remanded into the direction of the sheriff's department, and he is walked out with a deputy and his 2 attorneys. In that moment, Karmelo Anthony walks out. He's crying visibly. He takes a glance over at his parents. It was a split second, and it tells you so much about the pain that happens with these verdicts and the sentence.
But talk also a little bit about Austin Metcalf's family, because Hunter was in the courtroom for the first time.
Can we talk about Austin's family? You know, the guy that was killed. There's this weird air of something where everyone is acting so sympathetic towards the murderer. It's very interesting. And I think the reason I say this is I think the people right here, they are towing the line and doing that because they know that they kind of have to do that. Right. And it's very, very interesting that the media portrays stuff like this. Like they all keep on talking about, oh, well, Karmelo Anthony's poor family, and he was so upset. And I'm like, this guy died. Is anybody forgetting this? Is anybody forgetting that this guy right here killed this dude? And all we're talking about is his family being upset and him being upset. This guy died. His family will never talk to him again. They'll never see him get married. They'll never see him grow old and have children and get grandchildren and see him become a man and, get into the middle age and see his successes in life or failures. You know what I'm saying? And all anyone's talking about is Karmelo Anthony's family and how they're sad. Like, what this is this ass backwards. It's so strange, man.
Has not been at this trial, their reaction.
Yeah. There was very little emotion during the verdict and after the verdict. It wasn't until they came in for when the jury first got to hear about the actual sentencing charges, that's when they were actually the most talkative. But before that, they were very quiet. There was a time during closing when Bill Werskey's talking about life sentences have already been handed out in this case. Megan Metcalf has a life sentence. Jeff Metcalf has a life sentence. And Hunter Metcalf already has a life sentence, talking about the loss of Austin Metcalf. And that's when we see Megan Metcalf really having a moment there. It's very difficult.
What do you make of that when it comes to the jury going to have to deliberate this and decide his punishment?
Well, I think that they take what they hear. And I think for what Jobin said and Werskey's final argument to them, I mean, I think it's relatively like recent to when they go back and deliberate. So I think it's going to really have some people thinking about things. And yes, you have to determine how you want to punish this defendant. But what Werskey was doing is saying you can't forget about this family that's been affected by these actions.
Chris, back to you.
I want to just follow up on some of the things you said, in terms of how this played out with the jury being able to consider manslaughter and murder. Was this something that was expected and quite so soon?
Tanya?
I didn't catch what you said.
Oh, he asked if manslaughter and murder were something that was being expected that this jury was going to deliberate.
Well, I would have been surprised if they had not included manslaughter. I would expect in a case that it would have been included. But Rebecca, you and I were talking about it earlier. Keith and I were talking about when this verdict came back so quickly, you just knew that manslaughter was taken off the table, that they were going with murder, that the verdict was going to be murder. I think now the biggest question is how long will it take them to deliberate on punishment, and how much of a factor will his age, his youth, and how much will they take into account that body cam that shows his remorse and all this. I think a lot of that remains to be seen as to how they will view that.
Yeah, Chris, very decisive on this jury. They made their decision very quickly.
And I'm just wondering, from your expertise, from Jobin being in that courtroom at the time, will they look at the same evidence that they used to reach a verdict of guilty? Can they look at that with different eyes or with a different perspective when it comes to actually deciding how long he should be in prison?
Keith, they're asking if they'll use the same evidentiary information that they had to convict Karmelo Anthony into their decision on his sentence.
I think so. I mean, I definitely think that that's something that they're going to do. And what you kind of have to realize when they're listening to that evidence and guilt innocence at the beginning, they're not talking to each other about, hey, what are your thoughts and what are your thoughts? Because they can't deliberate till all the evidence has been submitted and they can deliberate. And so now that evidence might look differently because now you've got 12 other people, or if you're one, you've got 11 other people that are in agreement with you. And so now you might look at that saying, hey, we all have agreed that this is murder. And now what do we do with what we've seen? And so I definitely think that they're going to look at it again. How they weigh that out, people can look at it differently. Some can find some empathy in some forms or some sympathy or something like that. Some could find some aggravating things in some of the original conduct. So it's just going to depend on what they discuss and how they deal with it individually as well.
And we've all seen cases where the mere fact that they find somebody guilty of murder doesn't mean that the sentence is going to be life. I mean, we have seen cases, we've all covered them, where we think, oh, wow, they found them guilty of murder. They're going to give them this lengthy sentence. And sometimes they come back and the jury does show mercy. His mother getting on the stand and asking for mercy. It remains to be seen how much impact that will have on this jury.
And both sides in their closings today said, we want you to deliver something that is fair and meaningful. And maybe you can just, fair and meaningful is a very, very broad.
This is going to be interesting. So my thought process is it's going to be like 5 years. maximum 10. I don't see it being 50 or 25. And the reason I say that is, like I said, the entire goal here is going to be to quench the thirst of the mob, right? Do I think that's the appropriate number? I think it should at least be 25. I think almost everybody will agree with that. It should at least be the 25. But I think it'll be much less so they can try to prevent some kind of public outcry, right?
Range. Well, we talked about that earlier, and I think that that's one thing that we were looking to see what Bill would say in punishment. Would he ask for a number or a sentence? And he didn't, because they're leaving it to the jury to decide. I think the one thing that Bill did do is said, hey, don't just forget about this life sentence, because there's this family that has gotten life sentences. So yeah, y'all are going to decide, but I want you to still consider the full range, without telling them, oh, give him a certain time period, because you don't want to lose credibility with the jury if they've convicted him and they're somewhere at a way different number than what you would give to them.
And Chris, this judge has said that this jury can deliberate as long as they need. He has said that we could be here until 10 o'clock, however long it takes them today to reach this verdict. If they do not, then they would be sequestered, Chris.
All right, great context and insight. I know you guys are going to be right outside the courthouse there as we wait to hear from the jury again. I want to get now to Cole Sullivan. He's been getting a sense of how the crowd is reacting to this verdict. Cole, what are you hearing right now?
Oh, this would be interesting to hear. This would be interesting to hear. What's up, Hiller from Kentucky? My boy says, I'm tired, boss. I'm tired, boss. Damn. Yeah, I agree, Ashley. I agree. I mean, like, to be completely fair, I think the most appropriate sentence is life for life. But I think at the very minimum, it should be 25. At the very minimum. But I don't even think it'll be that. Like, I think it's going to get a little political. You know? Thank you, Hiller.
Chris, hearing Jobin describe the tension inside that courtroom, it is was equally tense outside the courtroom. And if it was quiet inside that courtroom waiting for that verdict, it was loud out here. The crowd has shrunk considerably since the height of it when that verdict was read. We'll take you up above from our helicopter now so you can kind of see that crowd, and about a dozen people out here, a lot of media, but a busy parking lot with a lot of cars out here. At its height, we probably had 150, maybe as many as 200 people out here. And as I said, it was loud. Here's some video from earlier. You can see the crowd, you can see people yelling and shouting. I did not see any physical contact at any point in this. No one put their hands on each other, but there were definitely some forceful disagreements. All of it happening under the watchful eyes of Collin County Sheriff's deputies. Interestingly, there were a lot of influencers, a lot of streamers, people with their phones out recording and broadcasting what was going on out into the world. Other folks were just here to watch. Some people brought their kids here to witness what they called a historic moment. And one woman who did that said she didn't like how it went.
It made me sick to my stomach. I'm sick. I just feel like there was so much that wasn't taken into consideration. It was so fast. I'm not even sure about a proper jury of his peers. It just felt rushed to get an answer quickly, and I feel like there should have been a lot more time and consideration taken into things.
Let's talk about security. There's been a lot of it out here for this whole trial. Today, a noticeable increase with deputies standing guard in front of the stairs to this courthouse. Right now, there are still people out here with people waiting in their cars. It's very, very hot outside, but you can tell that people are still here. The parking lot is full. There are people with signs saying justice for Karmelo or it was self-defense. But for as many people we've seen who have been in the Anthony camp, we've also seen folks here from the Metcalf side as well, now all waiting to see how the sentencing will go. Chris.
Yeah, very much so, with the jury having to consider an extremely wide range of years.
Yeah, by the way, for anybody wondering, they can deliberate until 11 p.m. apparently, which is actually weird. Real Justin says he's allergic to accountability. We had a long talk, Justin, about accountability earlier, and now no one really likes accountability. Let's be fair. No one really likes it, but It's
Now to
a
some
fact of
breaking news
life
overseas.
that
The
we
U.S.
have
has launched
to
new airstrikes on
tackle
Iran
as
in
human
response to
beings,
the Iranian shooting
right?
down an Apache helicopter
So
over the Strait of Hormuz.
that's just how this
President Trump
works. Now, as far as
authorized
deliberation go, it can go until 11 p.m., which is really weird. I thought it would go to like 5 p.m. and then they'll be like, all right, we're done. You know, no one's staying past 5 p.m., brother. Hell no. Hell no. Right? Dude straight up stabbed another dude and they're wallowing. Yeah. That's what I was talking about. I'm like, it seems like what everyone's talking about right now, the only thing anybody's talking about is how sad the murderer's family is. And I'm like, but what about the guy that died, though? What about the guy that died? You know? People are still donating to Karmelo Anthony's GoFundMe. And like Sledge said in chat, if he gets 5 years, he basically made $150,000 a year or more on a GoFundMe. So he kind of won in the end if that's what happened. You know? That'd be weird. But that would be what happened. He won in the end. It's crazy, man. It's absolutely insane. It's insanity. No, thank you. He stole a future. Karmelo deserved to not have one. Yeah, you're. I think you're right. Yeah, I think you might be right, brother. Yeah, Hank. Yeah. That's kind of what I was alluding to there. You know what I'm saying? GoFundMe should be canceled and everyone refunded, and then it just goes into like a negative balance. But my Ferraris, though. What about my Ferraris? Come on now. Come on now. And the family can still send it to him in prison. Interesting. I don't think they would. I think they're going to just keep it. I might do that. You know. Yeah, Lily, I agree with that. Just don't escalate. Don't escalate something, right? And it seems like that's how a lot of these things happen. If it's just a party will just escalate it into like boiling temperatures, and then something that shouldn't have happened happens, right? So, yeah, Monkey, yeah. 25 years means he'll still get a future, yeah. Yeah, I mean, he'd be, he's 18 now, 19. So he would be 44, roughly. If the Metcalf family sees in civil court and wins, I'm gonna laugh my ass off. Oh, brother. I'm Will says at the end of the day, he still chose to pull a weapon and use it on someone. So if there's racism or unfairness going on, he allowed them to control the narrative by making a bad choice. Yeah. There's never a reason to do that. If it's me, I just leave. Right? You know, I've been in situations where I started getting a vibe where stuff was starting to go down. So my happy ass left. That's what you should always do. Right? You know, within reason. Shadow with 1,000 kicks says, and cover the ass. Shadow. Thank you, brother. 1,000 kicks. You would think Astrobot. To be fair, though, I just don't think there was a lot that any lawyer could have worked with. The facts of the case are just so direct. They're so direct. You know what I'm saying? Bruce Banner says, when your school suspends you for having an app at school, if you have a 3.7 GPA, I think that means you keep your ass at home. People supporting this kid are crazy. Yeah, when I was in 4th or 3rd grade, I brought a pocket knife to school for show and tell, and I had to go to the principal's office because they thought I was gonna like mass murder people. This is in Alabama. There's a pocket knife. I had no idea. I was a stupid kid, if you didn't realize. But yeah. They should, Peachy. They should. Yeah, hell yeah, Skytex. Said he's going to get 35 years to please those who want longer sentences and the probation 15 to please the rest. That's how it's going to go. He's going to appeal. Interesting. I think I don't know. It's hard to say, man. It is really hard to say. Yeah, my trigger. Well, that's true. My trigger stuck. In Alabama, kids had hunting rifles in their toolbox of their trucks when I was in school. A different time for sure. A much different time for sure. So, thank you, Blasco. Thank you, Triggers Duck. Family will sue for wrongful death. In the 80s, my friends had their hunting rifles in their trucks. Yeah. Different time. I mean, I was in school in the 90s, early 2000s. It was the same. It was the exact same. You know, same stuff. I think it was probably because it was just high trust, very high trust society back then. You know, and now it's just not like that. Now maybe it still is in rural places, but Peachy says I remember being a kid, my dad having a couple shotguns in the gun rack in the back of the window of his truck. It was the norm, yeah, dude. Now my dad didn't, but yeah, I get what you're saying. My dad was from Illinois and California and stuff. He did. My dad has never liked guns. He's a little strange when it comes to. He don't like them. Granted, we had a few guns growing up, and we would go to the range and shoot them, but he didn't really care for all of it. I was the opposite. I was like, yeah, I got a lot. I got a lot. Yeah, Shadow. Exactly. Yeah, everybody's in. Yeah, same thing. Same exact thing. What's up, Sabine? Sabine la radio. All right, boys. All right, let's take one more gander at this and see what we got going on. There's just a helicopter watching the crowd right now. It's just a helicopter flying around looking for people that are freaking out. Let's do this. Hold on. What's up, High Tina Coffin, how you doing? All right, here's some more.
We expect, obviously, there will be a sentencing for Karmelo Anthony. And then after that, we'll see if there is a press conference. We're hearing that there may be a press conference with the attorneys from both sides speaking. Unclear at this point if family members from any family, either family, is going to want to comment on what has transpired throughout the course of the last week and a half. But for now, we're all in the same position, waiting outside, waiting to see what that sentencing will be for Karmelo Anthony. Back to you.
All right, Alex, thank you. And now we want to join Fox 4's Amelia Jones, who's been gathering reaction outside of the courthouse. Amelia.
Clarice, reaction has really been mixed emotions. And as my colleague Alex said, it's really ebbed and flowed throughout the afternoon.
Let's see, at Amelia Jones. Let me follow her real quick.
After that guilty verdict was issued. Now, the crowd is pretty sparse now. People seem to maybe be leaving, taking breaks in their cars. I have to say it is very hot out here, so people have gathered in small groups underneath the trees for some shade. At times, we've seen people gather in much larger groups. And we do know that, as Alex mentioned, people have been live streaming this trial all throughout testimony, even though there are no cameras inside the courtroom, and this case was not live streamed. People have been outside the courthouse kind of live streaming the process before the verdict. We saw many people with their phones live streaming, and then after the verdict came down, more people live streaming with reaction. At times, those larger groups, one person would be talking to the crowd and others would have their cell phones raised, kind of recording that reaction. I got a chance to speak to people about it, and kind of the consensus from those I spoke to was that there are no winners here on either side. They mentioned that the Metcalfs lost their son, and then the Anthonys, Karmelo Anthony, the jury is deciding his sentence right now. So that was the consensus from people that I spoke to. Now, I will say, and we know that this case has become racially charged in large part due to rumors, misinformation, and speculation going on online. I was in the courtroom yesterday when the judge told the jurors, do not look at social media. This was last night before today's closing arguments and those deliberations began. And so I have heard a few racially charged comments. There are some people who are upset about
a few. Every video we watched was people just freaking out about the guilty verdict. Like every comment was racially charged. Yeah, every single one of them. Uncle Ruckus here. Last Effects has no relation. They want a reason to get away with ending the white man. No! All jokes aside, you can tell the intelligence there. Thank you, Last Effect. Appreciate you. Please. Carify says, everything's become so polarized. How do we get back to the good old days? Is it even possible? Has it gotten that bad? I don't think we're coming back from this. No. It's social media has exacerbated it to way too hard. And also agitators from overseas. Like there's Chinese, Indian, different accounts that pose. That's why X added the location, the public location on there, even though people try to bypass it with a VPN, because people just try to agitate people. They try to destabilize entire like cultures, right? That's their whole. It's what is it? It's the old Soviet playbook. I might be wrong. I might be talking out of my ass. I'm not very intelligent. Of low intelligence.
The verdict, and there are some people who feel the opposite, feel that justice has been served in this case. We know that Karmelo Anthony's supporters have been out here every morning for the most part throughout the day. They have been wearing purple, and there is a lot of purple here. And again, people are kind of coming and going. We've also seen signs that say justice for Austin. So we know supporters kind of on both sides of this case are still out here. I asked them, why are you still out here? And they told me that they want to be here when that sentence does come down. And someone who considers themselves a Karmelo Anthony supporter told me they also want to be out here to support the youth, meaning 19-year-old Anthony in this case. But for the most part, Clarice, things are quiet. There is no more music playing. People have not gotten over the loudspeaker and started any chants or really preaching like we heard a couple hours ago. But of course, that could change as the jury comes back into the courtroom and that sentence is read. Things could change, and so that's why we will be out here monitoring the situation outside. You see the Collin County Sheriff's Office behind me, and there have been no tensions sparked between the people out here and law enforcement, but they're here and they're making their presence known, and of course we will keep you updated on what we see. For now, Clarice, though, I'll send things back to you.
All right, Amelia, thanks. And now we want to bring in Fox 4's Sean Rabb in the digital studio, who's been part of our breaking news coverage all afternoon. And Sean, you've got more on the punishment phase, and the jury got that started at 4:37 this afternoon.
Yeah, exactly 1 hour ago. It's now 5:37 p.m. They've been deliberating for an hour. Want to say this real quick. It'll be interesting to see how many people stay after the sun goes down if the jury has not returned with a verdict before sunset. But perhaps as the evening wears on, the crowd will perhaps dwindle in size. There will be another reaction, and that is whenever the ultimate sentence is announced. And speaking of that, in the punishment phase, there was one witness, only one witness, and that was the mother of Karmelo Anthony, Kayla Hayes. She wept on the witness stand, her son crying as his mother literally pleading with jurors for mercy for her son.
To be fair, Ashley, I mean, is she wrong, though? Is she wrong, though, Ashley? Come on. Come on.
Metcalf to
Waiting for how much time it will serve. They can deliberate until 11 p.m. I'm probably going to hop off here pretty soon and head to the gym because I still have to hit my trainings for the day.
No other character witnesses, no other person.
We're closing in on 3 hours.
His good personality, his good soul. Only his
I was just typing, yeah, so you know it to be true. You search yourself. You know it to be true.
In his sentencing, which could range 99 years. That would be the ultimate. I believe the sentence, I believe the floor is around 40 years and up is what I think Bill Werski is looking for. He asked the jurors, he said, I know it's not easy, but I want you to think it is clear. Guilty of murder, hand out a sentence that is meaningful, lengthy, that can begin to heal these people and community. And so we believe the jurors will work through the evening, could very well come back tonight.
Damn, he recommended 40 years as the floor.
And Sean, that final decision has to be unanimous, right?
The punishment must be agreed upon by all, yes.
All right, Sean Rabb in our digital studio. Sean, thank you. Fox 4 is committed to keeping you up to date on this case. If there is a sentence update from the courtroom, we will be live on the.
That is brutal. 40 years is what they recommend, or what he recommended. 40 years. Whew. Shit bags, brother. That's a lot. Rob says Texas average is 25 to life. They want 40. Whew. Well, rest in peace, boys. Hey, do me a favor and like the stream if you don't mind. Hit that like button. Hard as hell. Hit it hard, hit it good, and hit it true. That's for damn sure. I don't foresee us getting the sentencing today, though. Because if they're looking for 40, oof, it's going to be a hard one to swallow, I think. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna. I don't know, man. That seems like it would cause the world to burn, like a meltdown. That seems like it would be an absolute meltdown. It's crazy. Some of these people, like, defenses is insane. Look at this defense. Look at this. This person says, Austin was 6 inches taller than Karmelo and 83 pounds heavier. What does that have to do with anything? So you're saying I'm allowed to stab people if they're taller than me? Is that the new rule now? I feel like people are just making shit up at this point. You know? I agree, Fluffy Pink. I agree. I completely agree with you. 100%. Insanity. Absolute insanity. If he gets 40, you get out and 20 out. That's wild. Yeah, Spanky, I get that. I totally get your perspective too. 100%. All right, boys. All right, I'm going to get off here and head to the gym real quick. If I'll be following this. If something starts to pop off, I'll jump back on live. We're going to raid D-Day Cobra. I think he's still alive because I saw he was streaming this earlier. Let me make sure. And then I'll be back. I want to give a big shout out to Megan. I love you. I appreciate you so much. Carify, everybody, Hiller, Willen, Ashley, Billy, Rockstar, Chai Tea, everybody. You guys are goated as hell. Thank you so much. Mavic Kuba was here. Game on, Metal on. Shadow. Don't forget Shadow. What a beautiful man. Love you, Shadow. I appreciate you guys so much. I'm going to raid we're going to raid D-Day Cobra, and I'll see you guys here in a little bit. Get the hell on it, doggone it. I'm going to go lift some weights. So I love you. I appreciate you. We'll be back in a little bit. Get the hell on it, doggone it. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Insane. Just destroyed Naked Snake, and I wasn't even trying to do Naked Snake at all. Thank you. Chad Amsler, my boy. Appreciate you guys so much. I'll see you guys in a few hours. Get the hell on it, doggone it. Gross Jeremy. Not Jeremy. Cam Raiden.